effortlessly achieve their goals while others struggle? Why do some individuals consistently make progress in their personal and professional lives, while others remain stuck in a cycle of unfulfilled dreams and missed opportunities? The answer, my friends, lies in self-discipline. Self-discipline is the key that unlocks the door to your full potential. It's the invisible force that propels ordinary people to extraordinary heights. It's the differentiator between those who dream and those who achieve. And today I'm going to share with you 5 essential ways to cultivate and master this life-changing skill. But before we dive in, I want you to understand something crucial. Self-discipline isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's not about forcing yourself to do things you hate. No. Self-discipline is about empowerment. It's about taking control of your life, your actions, and your future. It's about becoming the captain of your own ship, steering it through calm seas and stormy waters alike, always moving toward your chosen destination. Now let's begin our journey into the heart of self-discipline. I remember a time in my early years when I felt lost. Not lost in the sense of being stranded somewhere, but lost in my direction in life. I was working hard, doing what I thought I was supposed to do, going to my job, paying my bills, making ends meet, but deep down, I knew something was missing. I wasn't struggling, but I wasn't growing either. And that, my friends, is a dangerous place to be. Because when you're not growing, you're slowly fading. Then one day I met a mentor. He was a successful businessman, wise beyond his years. He looked at me and asked, "Jim, where are you going?" And I remember laughing and saying, "Well, I'm working hard trying to make a living." He nodded, but then leaned in closer and asked again. That's not what I asked. I asked, "Where are you going?" And in that moment, I realized something profound. I didn't have an answer. And that, my friends, was the problem. Because you see, self-discipline without vision is like a ship without a captain. It doesn't matter how powerful the engine is. Without direction, you'll just drift. And the problem with drifting is that you end up somewhere you never intended to be. I realized I had been putting in the effort, but I had no real destination. No clear vision. No defined future. And when you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. That day I made a decision. I was going to get clear about what I wanted. No more guessing. No more hoping things would work out. I sat down with a pen and paper and asked myself, what do I truly want? And that, my friends, was the beginning of a brand new life. Let me tell you something. Successful people don't guess their way to the top. No one wakes up one morning and accidentally becomes successful. No one stumbles into a great career, a thriving business, or an extraordinary life. They see it before they create it. They have a vision so clear, so vivid, that it's almost real before it even happens. And that vision pulls them forward, even on the tough days. Most people, however, live with a blurry vision. They have a vague idea of success. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to be wealthy, or I want to be happy. But that's not enough. A blurry vision creates blurry results. You need specificity. You need clarity. Because when your vision is clear, your actions become purposeful. Think about an Olympic athlete. Do you think they rely on willpower to wake up at 4 a.m. and train every day? No. They have a vision of standing on the podium, hearing their national anthem, feeling the weight of that gold medal around their neck. That vision is what fuels their discipline. They don't have to drag themselves out of bed. They jump out of bed because they know exactly what they're working for. The same is true for you. If you want to master self-discipline, you must see your future before it happens. And you must see it in detail. Not just, I want to be successful. No. Define it. What does success look like for you? Where do you live? What does your daily routine look like? How do you feel when you wake up? The sharper your vision, the stronger your discipline. And let me tell you something. Your mind cannot create what it cannot see. If you can't picture your future clearly, how can you expect to build it? If you don't have a defined goal, how can you expect to reach it? This is why most people struggle with discipline. They're trying to be disciplined without having something to be disciplined for. But when your vision is strong enough, discipline becomes automatic. I remember sitting down that day and writing out exactly what I wanted my future to look like. I wrote down my financial goals, my personal goals, the kind of life I wanted to create. And suddenly, something changed. I no longer needed someone to push me. I no longer needed motivation. My vision became my motivation. Every action I took had a purpose. Every choice I made was leading me somewhere. And that, my friends, is the power of a crystal clear vision. So here's what I want you to do. Take some time, not tomorrow, not next week, but today, and define your vision. Write it down. Get specific. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What kind of life do you want to create? And most importantly, why does it matter to you? Because the stronger your why, the stronger your discipline. Remember, my friends, clarity creates power. The more clearly you can see your future, the more control you have over your actions. And when your vision is strong enough, discipline isn't something you have to do. It's something you want to do. So, get clear, get focused, and start moving toward your vision. Because once you know exactly where you're going, nothing can stop you. I once asked a successful businessman, "What's the secret to success?" He looked at me and said, "Jim, successful people do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not." At first that seemed too simple. But the more I thought about it, the more powerful it became. Because most people only take action when they feel motivated. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the right mood. But let me tell you something, my friends. If you only work when you feel like it, you'll never get anywhere. Think about it. How often do you feel like waking up early? How often do you feel like exercising? How often do you feel like putting in the extra effort after a long day? If we always waited until we felt like it, most of us would never do what's necessary to succeed. And that's why so many people stay stuck. They let their feelings dictate their actions, instead of letting their actions dictate their success. Let me share a story with you. Many years ago, I had a friend who wanted to build a business. He was smart, talented, and full of ideas. But he had one problem. He only worked when he felt motivated. Some days he would wake up full of energy, ready to take on the world. And other days he would say, "I just don't feel it today. I'll work on it tomorrow." Well, guess what? Tomorrow turned into next week turned into next month, and before he knew it, years had passed, and he was still in the same place. Why? Because he never built the habit of doing what needed to be done, regardless of how he felt. Compare that to another man I knew. Someone who wasn't the smartest, wasn't the most talented, but he had one thing: discipline. Every day, rain or shine, he showed up. He did the work. He didn't wait for motivation. He created it through action. And let me tell you, that man became incredibly successful. Not because he was lucky, not because he was the best, but because he built the habit of following through, even on the days he didn't feel like it. That, my friends, is one of the greatest lessons you'll ever learn. Discipline isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's necessary. And by the way, that's for life, right? Now you might be thinking, "But Jim, how do I build this habit?" It's simple. You start small. You train yourself. Let's say you want to get in shape. Maybe you don't feel like working out today. That's fine. You don't have to do an intense workout. But can you do 10 push-ups? Can you take a short walk? You see, the goal isn't to do something huge. It's to prove to yourself that your feelings don't control you. Because once you start acting despite how you feel, you take back control of your life. Think about this. Successful people don't skip their commitments just because they're tired. Do you think world-class athletes only train when they feel like it? No. They train because they've made a commitment. They train because they've built the habit, and over time, that habit becomes who they are. And this applies to every area of life. Want to become a great speaker? You don't just practice when you feel inspired. You practice every day. Want to become financially successful? You don't just save money when it's convenient. You build the habit of financial discipline. The key, my friends, is consistency. And consistency is built through discipline, not motivation. So here's what I want you to do. Starting today, make a commitment to yourself. Choose one area where you've been waiting for motivation and take action anyway. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable. Train yourself to follow through, because once you develop the habit of doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not, nothing will be able to stop you. Many years ago, I learned one of the greatest lessons of success. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something important. You see, most people struggle not because they lack time, but because they spend too much of their time on things that don't move them forward. They say yes to distractions. They say yes to obligations that drain their energy. They say yes to other people's priorities while ignoring their own. And then they wonder why they're exhausted, frustrated, and stuck in the same place. Let me tell you something, my friends. If you want to master self-discipline, you must master the art of saying no. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has mastered this skill. They protect their time. They guard their focus. They understand that time is the most valuable resource they have, and they refuse to waste it on things that don't serve their vision. I remember a young man who came to me once and said, "Jim, I want to be successful, but I just don't have the time." I asked him, "What do you do in the evenings?" "Well," he said, "I usually hang out with my friends, watch TV, and scroll through social media." I looked at him and said, "There's your problem." He had time, he just wasn't saying no to the things that were stealing it. My friends, success isn't about having more time. It's about using the time you have wisely. And that means saying no. Now, I know what you're thinking. "Jim, it's hard to say no. People will be disappointed. What if I miss out on something?" Let me tell you something. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something meaningful. If you say yes to an extra hour of television, you say no to reading a book that could change your life. If you say yes to a weekend of partying, you say no to preparing for the future. If you say yes to someone else's demands, you say no to your own dreams. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because whether you realize it or not, you are always sacrificing something. The only difference is whether you're sacrificing your success or sacrificing your distractions. Now, let's get practical. How do you master the art of saying no? First, get clear on what's important. If you don't know your priorities, you'll say yes to everything. Take time to ask yourself, what really matters to me? What are my top 3 priorities in life? Second, set boundaries. Let people know what you're focused on. If someone invites you to something that doesn't align with your goals, be polite but firm. Say, "I appreciate the invitation, but I have other commitments." You don't owe anyone an excuse. Your time belongs to you. And third, practice discipline. At first, saying no will feel uncomfortable, but over time, it will become a habit. And once you master it, you'll notice something amazing. Your productivity will increase, your stress will decrease, and your life will start moving in the direction you truly want. So, my friends, starting today, I want you to take control of your time. Stop saying yes to distractions. Stop saying yes to obligations that drain you. Stop saying yes to things that don't move you forward. Instead, say yes to your goals. Say yes to your growth. Say yes to your future. Because the moment you learn to say no to the things that don't matter, you create space for the things that do. Have you ever tried to work in a cluttered, noisy space? It's hard, isn't it? You're trying to focus, trying to push through, but distractions keep pulling you away. Your environment has a profound impact on your ability to stay disciplined. Think about this for a moment. Your surroundings, the people you spend time with, the tools you have access to, these all shape your mindset and behavior. If you want to master self-discipline, you must create an environment that supports and nurtures that discipline. I remember a time in my life when I was struggling with my own discipline. I had big dreams, big goals, but I wasn't seeing the results I wanted. I was doing the work, yes, but I wasn't as focused as I should have been. Then, one day, a mentor of mine shared something that completely shifted my perspective. He said, "Jim, your environment either encourages your growth or holds you back. If you want to succeed, you have to surround yourself with the right influences." It hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized that while I was trying to build my dreams, I was doing it in an environment that wasn't helping me. I was living in a place full of distractions. I was spending time with people who didn't understand or share my vision. And I was surrounded by negativity that drained my energy. No wonder my discipline wasn't where it needed to be. So, I made a change. I began by clearing my physical space. I cleaned up my office, got rid of the clutter, and organized everything in a way that made it easy for me to focus. I put away things that weren't contributing to my goals, and made sure everything I saw was aligned with my vision. It's amazing how powerful this is. When your surroundings are clean, organized, and aligned with your goals, it creates a sense of clarity. You start to feel like you have control over your environment, and in turn, you feel more in control of your actions. But it doesn't stop there. You need to surround yourself with people who support your dreams. I'm not talking about people who just nod along and tell you everything you're doing is great. No. You need people who challenge you, who push you to be better, who expect you to show up and be your best. If the people around you are negative or constantly dragging you down, it's time to make a change. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're spending time with people who are complacent, who don't have big goals, who aren't disciplined themselves, then it's going to be much harder for you to stay disciplined. I made a conscious effort to spend more time with people who inspired me, people who were already where I wanted to be, people who understood the power of self-discipline. And let me tell you, that alone made a huge difference in my life. Your environment also includes the tools and resources you have at your disposal. Are you making it easy for yourself to stay disciplined? Or are you complicating things? When I was building my business, I made sure I had the tools I needed, whether it was books, courses, or technology, so that I could keep learning and growing. I also made sure I had a comfortable workspace that promoted focus and creativity. I didn't have distractions at arm's length. If you're trying to improve your fitness, create an environment that makes it easy to work out. Set up your gym bag the night before. Put your running shoes where you can see them. If you want to improve your financial discipline, get rid of credit cards or set up automatic savings. The easier you make it for yourself to do the right thing, the more likely you are to do it. Here's the key, my friends. Your environment should be a reflection of the person you want to become. You want to be more disciplined? Start by setting up your space, your relationships, and your resources in a way that supports that discipline. Make it easy for yourself to succeed. Remove the obstacles and distractions that get in the way. So, take a moment today and look at your environment. Is it helping or hindering your progress? Are your surroundings aligned with your goals? Are the people you're spending time with pushing you to be better? Are the tools you're using helping you grow? Or are they holding you back? The simple truth is this: you can't build discipline in an environment that doesn't support it. Create the space you need for success, and everything else will fall into place. One of the most powerful lessons I've ever learned about discipline is this: success doesn't happen overnight. It's not instant. It's not a quick fix. It's the result of consistent effort over time. And here's the secret: most people give up too soon. Let me take you back to a time when I was building my own life. There were days, weeks, even months when I felt like I was working so hard, but nothing was happening. Have you ever been there? You do the work, you show up every day, but the results just don't seem to come. It's like you're running a marathon, but you can't see the finish line. I remember thinking to myself, is this really working? Is it worth it? But let me tell you something that changed everything for me: the power of consistency. You see, most people expect quick results. They want immediate feedback. They want to see progress right away. And when they don't, they get discouraged. They think, I'm not good enough. I'm not making progress. Maybe this isn't for me, but here's the truth. Progress is slow. It's often invisible at first. It's like planting a seed in the ground. You don't see the roots growing right away. But underneath the surface, something is happening. Slowly, but surely, that seed is growing. And if you continue to water it, give it sunlight, and nurture it, eventually you'll see a tree. But it takes time, and it takes consistency. I remember a conversation I had with a friend of mine who was struggling to build his business. He was frustrated because he had been working for months and wasn't seeing the kind of growth he expected. I asked him, "How long have you been doing this?" He said, "About 6 months." And I looked at him and said, "You're still in the beginning stages. Stay consistent. Keep doing the right things, even when it doesn't feel like it's working." It wasn't what he wanted to hear. He wanted to know the secret to fast results. But I knew something he didn't. The key to success is showing up, day after day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. And so, my friends, you must stay consistent, even when progress is slow. You see, discipline is about building habits, and habits take time to form. You can't expect to be perfect right away. You can't expect to see huge changes after just a few days of effort. But if you commit to showing up every day, doing the work, even when it doesn't feel like it's paying off, you'll eventually look back and realize how far you've come. Now, I know that consistency is hard. There are days when you won't feel motivated. There are days when you'll feel like quitting. There are days when you'll wonder if it's even worth it. But those are the days when your discipline is most important. Consistency doesn't require motivation, it requires commitment. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel on top of the world, ready to conquer everything. Other days you'll struggle to get out of bed. That's why relying on motivation alone will never get you where you want to go. Discipline is about doing the work, whether you feel like it or not. I know a man who runs every morning, no matter what the weather is like. Rain, snow, or shine. He's out there, hitting the pavement. I asked him once, "How do you do it? How do you keep going when it's freezing outside?" He looked at me and said, "I don't wait for motivation. I just show up. Every day. It's the consistency that matters." And he's right. The key to long-term success is showing up consistently, doing the work day after day, even when you don't see the results immediately. But here's something else you should know. The small wins are just as important as the big ones. Too many people overlook the little victories, the small steps they take each day toward their goal. But those small steps add up. They compound over time. The consistent, small efforts you make today will lead to the big breakthrough tomorrow. So don't get discouraged by slow progress. Don't get frustrated when it feels like nothing is changing. The small actions you take today are setting the foundation for your future success. Stay consistent. Keep putting in the work. Keep showing up even when it feels like it's not paying off. And one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come and how much progress you've made without even realizing it. The most successful people I know have one thing in common. They never quit. They just keep going. Even when progress is slow, even when it feels like they're not getting anywhere. So, my friends, let me leave you with this. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. Stay consistent. Keep putting in the effort. And know that, with time, your progress will show. As we wrap up today's talk, I want you to remember this. Self-discipline is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, and even when you can't see the results right away. It's about building habits that serve your future, about setting a clear vision and sticking to it no matter what. It's about staying consistent because success doesn't happen in an instant. It's the result of small, consistent actions over time. You've heard the 5 ways to master self-discipline. but now it's time to make them yours. This isn't just theory. This is how the most successful people in the world have achieved their greatness. The journey won't always be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and times when you question your path. But remember this: success is predictable when you commit to the process, when you stay disciplined, and when you refuse to quit. So, as you move forward, take the lessons you've learned today and apply them to your life. Make them part of who you are, and in time, you'll see just how powerful self-discipline can be in shaping your future. Thank you for your time today. Keep moving forward, keep pushing through the obstacles, and never forget, the best is yet to come. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and most importantly, stay consistent, because the world needs your greatness.